So this person says, why Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns failed? Most garbage story in the franchise. I would disagree. I think they took a risk with telling a different type of story from Mortal Kombat, and I appreciated the nuances in the story. I think it needed to be longer, to be honest, because I think what they were trying to show is that even though Liu Kang had the power to change everyone's narrative and background and story, at the end of the day, they ended up exactly where they were before. And I think that's where the story was going. They just didn't arrive there fast enough. Sector and Cyrax gender swap, they should have been Jade and Scarlet. I like the idea of putting Jade and Scarlet together, but I think my issue is the gender swap. I just don't think that was a problem, given the premise for Mortal Kombat 1 was essentially NetherRealm's multiverse. And with a multiverse and different backgrounds and different ways of telling the story, sometimes things are different. And I don't think Cyrax and Sector's genders affected their story much. I know it had an impact for Sector because she was essentially in love with Sub-Zero. I mean, that was strongly hinted at. But I think for their rivalry and what happened in the story, I don't think their genders really made a difference. I would disagree with that. Ghostface and Noob Saibot the best. I think those two characters from this DLC were the most successful, particularly Ghostface. I think he's gotten a great reception. No one's paying for $50 for 2 of 6 characters. I would agree with that. I think a lot of players were really turned off by the price of the DLC. And no one asked for Conan and T-1000. And I also think that's correct. I think these are just obscure guest characters, and they're not really strong enough to make this palatable. As I've talked about in my content, I think Mortal Kombat has reached a peak with their guest characters with Joker and Spawn. I think they should have just stopped doing guest characters after that, because I just don't know what other guest characters can top those entries. I think they did something great with Omni-Man, Homelander, and Peacemaker, but I don't know how they top that, and that's why Conan and T-1000 just feel so odd.